Hey, welcome back. This is Shah. We got another video from It's Complicated channel. Let's go ahead and watch it together.
Who faces more rejection, men or women?
I think men do, honestly.
I think men, yeah, I think men do.
Why?
That's true, because men are generally expected to initiate, regardless of how you look, right? So if culturally men are expected to ask someone out on the date, you know, plan the date out, do all this stuff, initiate the conversation, all these things, then men are putting themselves out there to be rejected.
Why is that?
Because they have to shoot the shot first, usually. So I feel like, yeah, usually women have more of an opportunity to reject.
Men are always feel pressured to ask, and I feel like women don't feel as pressured, so they get turned down more.
Yeah, the expectation there is for the man to initiate.
Why are men expected to initiate just about everything leading up to a date or relationship?
Probably societal norms. I feel like it's getting better, though, but...
Probably stereotypes. Yeah, modern dating standards, I guess.
Why can't there be more give and take?
I think there is once you're like in the relationship, but I feel like it's hard in today's day and age because everyone's on social media, you know? So I feel like it's easier to just like text.
I mean, it's definitely changed. Like, if you think back then, a lot of the times, like, it was 100% guys are always going for it. And now I feel like, especially with dating apps and stuff, like, I find myself reaching out to some of the guys I match with first. But, like,
I don't know if it's true exactly. I think it's still the majority of men having to reach out. I've had some women that reached out to me first. But that's not very often. Maybe that's just me.
I don't know. It's just like I think it's just like ingrained into you, and you're like.
What's the worst response you got after rejecting a guy?
Probably just like ghosting.
They're getting.
You know, guys, you know, we get rejected a lot. We're used to it. At least I am. The best thing you can do is just dip out of there. You know what I mean? There's no need to be impolite or cause problems or anything like that. I think men are more likely to do that if they feel like they've been led on for a longer period of time. And this goes back to my video of can men and women just be friends. The longer that sort of guy is friend zoned, if he actually does like her, the kind of bigger hit it's going to be of a gut punch when the rejection inevitably comes.
Agree. They're aggressive. They can be aggressive. Men can be aggressive.
They call you ugly after.
Oh, yeah. They say you're friends.
Well, I thought you were ugly anyway.
That's pretty mean. There's no need to do that.
Have you ever been rejected, and if so, how did you react?
It's funny because women, when they get rejected, some of them will lose their freaking minds. And I've had women tell me this.
No.
I feel like something just might have not worked out or fizzled out, I suppose. But I've never like been rejected on the spot, I guess.
I have been rejected, and I usually play it cool. You know what? If he doesn't want me, I don't want him.
In high school, I definitely was rejected, and I feel like I was very like emotional back then, so I kind of like freak out, texted the guy, and was like going off on him, but I don't know, I can't. Wow,
yeah, I mean, and that goes back to what I was saying. Some women will get really like just angry, super freaking lose it if they get a rejection, because we're like, really, you know? So she's basically admitting to that, and hey, I can't be mad at her for admitting to that.
Think of like recently.
How can a person stay motivated if they never have any success?
Again, you really need to question your entire being if you have no success.
Would you have confidence if you got zero attention from men?
No.
It'd make things a lot more difficult to be confident because, yeah, I don't know. It's very hard to look at this from a guy's perspective because we can only look at it from girls, to be honest. So,
you know, I gotta actually applaud her for having that much self-awareness on that. That's a true statement. They really just can't understand. And this is why, you know, taking dating advice from women, if you're a man, sometimes it just doesn't work out for you. You know, they're going to be like, well, we're women. I mean, we know what it's like from our side. And yeah, maybe. But for the most part, you know, if you're trying to fish, better to ask the fishermen on how to catch them fish.
It's a little bit more difficult to answer questions like that.
Have you ever empathized or thought about how it feels to be a man and have the pressure of pursuing women and risking rejection?
Yes, women are empathists, whatever the right word is. Women have a bigger heart, and I think we care about men's feelings much more than men care about women's feelings.
I think that's just completely wrong of a statement. I don't think she knows exactly what she's saying. To claim that women care more about men's feelings than men's do, I think is, God, it's almost asinine. I mean, guys, how much stuff do we go through to make sure we don't hurt a woman's feelings on a given day? I mean, some of the cultural terms we have, happy wife, happy life, she's always right or whatever. Those literally come out of us trying not to hurt women's feelings. You know what I mean? Maybe she feels that way because of whatever guys she really wanted to pursue, and then maybe didn't get. She felt like, oh, I really cared about them, but they didn't care about me. But I cannot agree with her statement.
And that is why women tend to date shitty men.
Yeah, I always think about that. I'm always like, dang, if I was a man, I would never go to people.
Women face rejection every single day in the workplace. They get ridiculed for jobs if they're not wearing enough makeup or if they are wearing too much makeup. There are so many other things, and I think we need to just understand that everybody goes through their own levels of privilege and their own levels of discrimination too.
Maybe in some places, I think that is a situation that's largely dealt with. I mean, we have laws to protect against that. Society has addressed those concerns for the most part. So, if I hear someone saying this, it just doesn't have the same effect on me.
Do you think women have difficulty seeing things from a male perspective?
For sure. A lot of girls are very conceited and self-absorbed and only think of themselves and don't think about how the situation might affect somebody else, as in the guy that might be really nervous to talk to them, and just blunt, rude responses can actually take a pretty hard toll on guys, and I feel like a lot of girls don't realize that.
I really have to respect this woman saying, I actually am applaud her self-awareness here, because that is really true. Some women will get approached by so many guys, and maybe they're used to rejecting or whatever, but it can really hurt a lot emotionally to a man if you try to speak to a woman and they say something really mean, something horrible. And, it all just kind of contributes to a very toxic dating environment for everybody, because then that guy has to process those emotions, and maybe he comes back a little tougher skinned, and then maybe he's saying mean. That's how you get the guy earlier in the video the woman who's saying when she's rejected how the guy calls her ugly or whatever. It all kind of goes back into this sort of karmic circle here, which is unfortunate.
Why do you think that is?
Because girls get treated differently. We just got let into a club for free because we're on a guest list, and our friend that was with us
Who's a guy?
He's a guy, yeah. But he was gonna have to pay $60 to get in, and it's after hours. That just really sucks, and there should definitely be a little bit different of a culture, I'd say, because it makes things much more difficult for guys when they can't even get out and get down there, and it's mostly girls.
That's so funny. It's actually impressive again that she'd bring that up. That's one of those double standards. Whenever clubs that I've been in, or I've gone out sometimes with friends, you always see that happening. A lot of the chicks are gonna get let in, or if you're in a big group and you have a lot of girls with you, you have a better chance of getting in. They might still charge you as a guy, but for the most part, if you're a guy by yourself, you're not getting let in. And in this person's situation, this guy was with two women and still had to pay to get let in, while they got let in for free, right? And so that's just the double standard that exists.
Or guys with money, I suppose.
If a woman rejects a man, how should he know whether or not to keep trying?
Her body language.
I just think you should not keep trying.
Yeah,
if she rejects you, you should not keep trying.
Yeah. Have you ever rejected a man specifically to test his determination to winning you over?
Of course. I love the chase.
Have you ever rejected a man specifically to test his determination to winning you over?
No.
Yes.
You have?
The determination?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah, because it's pathetic. It's I already don't want you.
No.
So why would you keep
So if you reject him, have you ever rejected someone for them to keep trying? That was the question.
Oh. Wait.
Have you ever rejected someone so they keep trying? Yes or no?
Oh. Okay, yeah.
You have?
Yeah.
Say why so they know.
Because it's fun. It's a game.
That is such a horrible thing to do and a horrible thing to say, but there she is admitting it. Now, the confusing part about this is guys will hear this and be like, okay, if she says no, she wants you to pursue, so keep pursuing. And then you get into the territory of, harassment, where like, no, she really wants you to stop, but you're confused because you think you should keep pursuing. But honestly, if someone even rejects you, it's tough to say, because then there's that one, story out of 100 where the guy's actually successful because he kept pursuing, and then it perpetuates this thing where guys think they should. But generally, for me, if someone rejects me, I'm out of there. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's time to go. And even her, like, what she's basically saying is, the question is do you reject someone to see if they'll keep pursuing? She rejects someone for the fun of it. You know what I mean? Like a cat just playing with their prey. She's still not planning to get with this person. And if she does, it's going to be this sort of transactional thing where she's trying to see how much she can leverage out of this person, like how much she can get out of this guy, and probably still won't want to actually go out with him, or is not really into him, because it's only going to be in my opinion, it only gets more and more pathetic the harder and harder you try with someone who is not showing interest back in you like that.
That's fucked up.
People calling it this is how people get played. This is how you get a culture of people who date just to get what they want, but they don't care about others' needs, because of women like that. That's like, oh, it's just a game. Well, if it's just a game, then it's fair play if guys are going to lie to you, tell you what you want to hear just to sleep with you, and then dump you right after, right? Because it's just a game. I mean, this works both ways.
Have you ever rejected a man specifically to test his determination to winning you over?
Yes, 100%.
So then how does no always mean no?
That's such a good question.
Doesn't. No can mean yeah.
I mean, what do you do? I mean, right? You can't win here. We've had the slogans of no means no, right? Especially recently with the, what was that stuff that one wife of that one Anthony Bourdain guy, the Me Too movement, the no means no, all this kind of stuff. And then you hear stuff like this, it's confusing. But hey, generally, if someone says no, it's time to go.
Well, that's confusing.
No can mean yeah, and yeah can mean no. Just depends on how you say it.
Why don't women typically approach men?
Because of rejection.
If a woman chooses to approach a man and shoot her shot, is she more or less likely to be rejected than if a man approaches a woman?
Less. I feel like men like that.
I mean, it's probably less. I feel like most guys might jump at the opportunity. I mean, especially if it's someone they find attractive, they'd be like, all right, you know what I mean? But it all depends. It just depends on the woman. There are definitely times I know where women have liked me, and I know, like, you get that feeling right here in your stomach because you don't like them and you know that they like you, and you're just like, it's just becoming more uncomfortable, and you don't want to be mean. So, if it's someone like that who gives me that feeling, who's asking me out, then I'm going to say no.
I think a woman shooting her shot is much more likely to end up with that man.
If a girl approaches a guy and makes the first move, usually it works out better.
What advice would you give to the men that fear rejection?
Don't be scared, just shoot your shot. Maybe you have a chance, maybe don't. Rejection is just something to take in, it's something to learn from.
Why don't
I think that's pretty good advice. At the end of the day, it all comes down to experience. And being rejected isn't something to feel. It does feel horrible, but it's nothing to beat yourself up over, because the more you do it, the better you're going to get at the process. And then when you're finally met with success, then you get to this place where you have this confidence and like, hey, I made that happen. Like, I can do it again and again and again.
women just follow that same advice?
I follow that advice, but
Las Vegas.
she's about to piss me off.
But women don't typically approach men.
Because women typically don't go out to look for men. We go out to have fun.
This whole women don't go out to look for men, women go out to have fun. I mean, it's one of those things where most guys are like, yeah, right. I mean, you're going out there to get attention from men. But I think a woman could really believe that in her mind, because women get approached from so many guys generally that they really do go out to have fun, but it just kind of comes as a byproduct. I mean, it's almost like a given. Like, of course guys are going to approach me. And then it's just like, it happens so much and it's so guaranteed that you're not even really conscious of that as a thing. So you really are sort of going out to have fun. I mean, if I was really, you know, trying to be charitable here with an interpretation, I can see why she says that.
Do you think men prefer the chase or the catch?
The chase.
What good is the chase if you don't catch it?
I feel like they like games.
Do women prefer men who enjoy the chase?
I'm not sure. I feel like it would have to be both.
I mean, according to that other woman, it's definitely a game. I think women prefer men who do the chasing. And you can get to a point where, I mean, once you've hollered at so many girls and you got some experience, it really becomes second nature. You know what I mean? Like the chase does become fun. You can have fun with it. And it is something. But of course you do want to, you know, hit the target every now and then. But as a guy gets more experienced, you gain more confidence, and the chase does become fun on its own. And, you know, that's where you get, you know, your Casanova kind of archetype who's trying to make actual conquests here over women. And it's about, can I get her, instead of just getting it in general. You know what I mean? And as guys tend to get better in that field, then they start enjoying it more and more.
Why would women expect loyalty when they like going for the guy that enjoys chasing women? Isn't he less likely to be loyal?
That's such a good freaking question.
That's a good point. That's true.
You know, here's the thing. I think on a biological level, women are hardwired to sense, you know, that kind of confidence in a guy, even if it means they won't be loyal to them. Because I just think if someone approaches a woman and they're super nervous, timid, versus someone who's like really confident and you're looking them in the eye and you're just not exuding anxiety. I think anxiety is the difference here. If you get over that and you have confidence, you don't have anxiety, they're gonna know that. They're just attracted to the confidence.
If women take rejection worse than men, what does that say about being a strong, independent woman?
Maybe you're not that independent and strong. Maybe you need to work on some things. Maybe you have daddy issues.
I've heard a lot of women say that they don't approach because they're afraid of rejection. If women are the ones who fear rejection, why are women always the ones complaining about men not showing their emotions?
Damn, he's got some good questions.
That question is very powerful. You know, women generally want men to be emotionally vulnerable. And the reason I think that's true is because women get their power over a man through his emotions. So they will complain about a man who's not showing his emotions because they can't just get that wedge in there to put the collar around him, you know, and they will chase someone or be more off kilter, off center with someone who doesn't show their emotions because they're trying to figure out where's the chink in the armor here. So it actually makes them more interesting. But in the beginning, in order to get the woman interested, you do gotta kind of feign a emotional vulnerability. I mean, you have to put your heart out on a platter, and then, you know, they can step all over it with the rejection. And it brings up a really interesting point about who's emotionally available and who isn't.
Oh, I feel like, okay, damn, I agree with you. Like, I agree, honestly.
Yeah, that's a fair question because I think it's confidence on both, like male and female. It shouldn't just be on one gender. I feel like if you have a connection with somebody and you like feel their energy and like you meet them in person and you feel like you won't be able to like live your life without ever seeing them again, you gotta go for it.
If men risk rejection, wouldn't that mean men are the ones who are more emotionally available because they are the first ones to be vulnerable?
Yes. I feel like men have to heal faster so that way they can help women heal and understand women's needs as well.
Generally, I mean, the way it would appear from whatever experience I've had and from this kind of stuff is that the man needs to be more emotionally stable in order for the woman to feel safe around them. You know, we've talked about it on my channel before where we've gone over Reddit threads about men who have cried in front of their girlfriends, and there's just all these stories about men who did that once and then their girlfriend lost attraction and that was it for the relationship. So thinking about emotional vulnerability and what that really means, there's definitely a disconnect probably in what men are thinking women are asking for and what women want from us. Maybe there's some happy medium here, but for the most part, being too emotional all the time especially will just lead to a woman not liking you because you just aren't stable.
And like that makes them have to be more emotionally available for each new relationship, whereas women tend to we tend to hold grudges, and like at the end of the day we should be just as emotionally available, but they tend to not be. So
well, that's what a woman will do too, is like once they're done or whatever, they're going to withdraw everything and they're going to try playing with your emotions. The real difference here between men and women is that women don't understand, like men understand a hit below the belt is not honorable, So women will hit below the belt because they don't understand the same way that guys do, that's just not fair play. But in their world, it is. And they think it's the smart thing to do. And, men just have to understand that about women.
Why are women more likely to approach men for business than they are for dating?
I have been approaching men more often, actually. I think women don't approach men because we think that the man should do that for us. But you know what? I think that the world needs to change a little bit and the women have to go after the men.
The question is how does that change happen? You don't want to come off of someone who's like, it should be this way, and then complain about it. Most guys, I think, kind of just accept the fact of what it is that they're dealing with. It's probably going to be like hundreds of years before, with the sustained, culture that we have now, assuming there's no change, to where women would be the ones that are reaching out to men. You know what I mean? And if men are attracted to femininity, generally that entails something that is less aggressive, right? So what would actually create that change? I don't know. Should it change? I didn't even know about that either.
Because men are snakes. A lot of men, when they approach you, 9 times out of 10, it's just for sex.
See, that's another one of those things like that she thinks that because she's on like high alert, but I think that just comes from women not wanting to do their part and in selling themselves as relationship material. Most women are going to be like, what are you looking for? What are your intentions? And maybe to some extent that conversation's okay, but you can't get a guaranteed deal before going into it. You can't be like, oh, this guy's going to promise he's going to marry you or do all this stuff prior to you actually dating him. I mean, part of that is work within the relationship and requires the woman to set the hook on her end also to get a guy to want to do that. And generally, if a woman does say that, like, all you want is sex, especially if you guys have been talking for a while, that's a incredibly disrespectful thing for the woman to say, because what it does is it reduces all the acts of love you might have shown her that were genuine. And it basically says that she hasn't recognized any of that and that they were all lies. You're a liar. All you wanted is sex. You're just this maniac that wants to use my body to masturbate with. And when that happens, that's really the ultimate disrespect. So if a woman is accusing you of that, I mean, in my mind, that's just going to guarantee that, like, yeah, you're not good for anything else. I mean, at least in my opinion.
And I'm sorry if you're not the man that's just approaching for sex, but most men are. So most women know that, like, when a guy's coming to you, it's almost always for sex.
See, and I mean, what she's kind of revealing there also is that this is a woman who's been screwed over a bunch of times in the past. So you're engaging with this woman, you might want to go out with this woman, but you're going to encounter a lot of built up emotional traumas that are going to end up being unwinded onto the relationship itself, and you're going to have to deal with it eventually. It's just part of this dating culture we have where everyone just hurts each other, unfortunately.
So it's kind of just the rap you guys have. I'm sorry. I don't know. It's like a really terrible stigma in our culture that has kind of just built this up, I think. That's made things a lot more difficult, just like over time, and how men are supposed to be like the ones that protect and don't have feelings, and things like that, I feel like has just not helped the stigma at all leading up to our culture today.
Anyways, the video is getting pretty long here, so go over to It's Complicated channel and check out the rest of this video. There's still great questions that are asked. And let me know what you guys think down below. Are men the more emotionally available ones because they do the approaching, they risk the rejection? What does that say about us? You know, should this change? Should women do more approaching? Is that where we want to see society go? Anyways, let me know what you guys think down below. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and we'll see you on the next one.